Coast to Coast Fishing. We made a little name change due to some other people on YouTube having much larger channel than we do. So part of our channel also is cooking and food. So this is one of our favorite things to make to take on the boat. It is a favorite amongst all of our friends when we make it, smoke it, and hand it out. We vacuum seal little packages and give it to a bunch of people too. So it turns out really, really good. It's kind of a recipe that my grandpa had from way back in the day, and I've altered it just because of what we have available at our store and everything here. But basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna make 14 pounds of beef jerky. So we get the whole loin, big eye round, cut it down, let it marinate for at least 24 hours in our little homemade Thai marinade that we have going. Yeah, and then we'll smoke it on our Rectech smoker. So low and slow, 200, just for a few hours, usually until taste. Usually eat about a pound of it while it's smoking, just because it is good. You just got to check on your meat, make sure it's good. So first thing we do is I'll make up the marinade. So we have an arrangement of different sauces and everything, a little bit of salt and pepper just to kind of, I guess, break down those fats and everything in that meat and make it tender. And one thing about beef jerky too is you want to make sure that the way you cut the jerky and the way that meat is and the striations within that meat, you cut a certain way so when you go to eat it, it pulls, it tears nice, which makes it a lot more enjoyable so you're not sitting there chewing on it. All right, first things first, here's the lineup of everything we like to put in there. So I started out with a teriyaki base of everything. So just some simple teriyaki. This is the Kiko Man, the gluten-free stuff. 2 bottles of that, just because we're doing 14 pounds of jerky. It's quite a bit of jerky, so we need quite a bit of marinade. I always pop out these little tabs because it doesn't pour fast enough for me. So we will pop those out real quick. Get rid of that. Then I've got just a big stainless steel bowl right here. So big stainless bowl, just dump everything into that. So there will be 2 of those of the teriyaki. Pop this one out. I give away my secrets of the sauce here. I think the last batch we did, which was 16 pounds of jerky, got some major compliments, so this was a must do. Might be fishing next weekend, so it's good to be able to grab just, a bag or 2, that's vacuum sealed, take it on the boat, rip it open while you're going. So that was just some organic soy sauce, Kiko Man as well. And then one thing we've been adding lately, some liquid aminos. Let that sit in there and break down that meat. So. All right, liquid aminos. That one is done. And then I always like to add just a little bit liquid smoke. Gives it a little bit of smoky flavor. Even though they're going to be on the smoker for some hours, it just gives a little more kick to it. You can be kind of generous with that one. All right, and then some flavoring. This is some sweet habanero hot sauce that we get from a local grocery store. Super good. By itself, kind of hot. But once it breaks down the marinade and gets around the meat, it's kind of dulls it down a little bit, but you just get a little bit of sweet heat at the end as you're eating it. So I'm going to put the entire bottle in. All right, that's all of that bottle. All right, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of salt and pepper just to round it out a little bit. All right, and then one final thing that I like to do, just because our peppers haven't grown like crazy in the garden. So we have some fresh Tabasco peppers. So we got these, we grew these. We have all sorts, I think 6 or 7 different types of peppers right now. A whole bunch of tomatoes going, but it's getting really hot here in Florida, so garden's starting to burn out a little bit. So we're utilizing everything we can, but these Tabasco peppers are super hot. I've got some hot sauce going in the fridge right now. But I'm going to chop these up, just dice them up, toss them in there, and then we'll stir up this marinade, and then we'll get to the meat and start cutting that up. All right, so we got the Tabasco peppers chopped up, got that into the marinade. I'll give you guys a little sneak peek of this. So this is the marinade. So we'll just take this, just mix it up a little bit. It pretty much mixes itself when you start adding it all together. But this is delicious. If I could drink it, I would. Oh yeah. Little taste test. Got a little bit of a zing to it. Super, super, super good. Really hoping those peppers really kick in and get that marinade spicy. I like my beef jerky to be like a sweet teriyaki to begin, and then at the end of it, it kind of hits you with that tang, just a little bit that you need a good drink to go with it. So, all right. So first thing, we got the big old chunk of meat right here. That's 14 pounds of round steak, which I like to use for jerky. I know there's probably some better meats out there, but bang for the buck, probably the best. I'm gonna use, I believe it's 14-inch Dexter, of course. This is my meat knife. Use it for briskets, any other big meat. I like to cut through there, just sharpened it up. So I'm gonna trim off the fat. I will save you guys from watching that because it's not always the prettiest thing, cutting all the fat off of it. But I get it down to where there's hardly any fat on the loin, just because, you know, jerky, you get a big old piece of fat that's rendered for 3 hours. It's not that tasty anyways. And it doesn't seem to keep as well. So get all the fat off of you can, and then I will show you how I cut it, and then which way to cut it so that you get a nice tender piece of meat when you go to pull it off the smoker. All right, so we trimmed all the fat off of it, got majority of it looking good here. There's just still a little bit of fat in there, but that'll all render out once you throw it on the smoker for a couple hours. So first thing I want to do is cut this. You can kind of see the striations in the meat. We've got to go in this way, and we've got to go in this way. So what I'm going to do is first, I want to take off this section that's going the opposite way. That'll make it easier that I can, you know, cut it the way I need to. So cut that guy off first, and then what we'll do is we'll cut it in some manageable pieces. You can see just absolutely beautiful meat. That's going to make some really good jerky. And then we'll just cut it into some smaller pieces. It doesn't matter. You're making jerky. It's going to be smaller pieces anyways, but my cutting board is not huge. So what I'll do is I'll cut, go back like that. And then that right there, when I cut it the other way, is going to be the length of how long the pieces are for the meat. All right. And then you can see here, I mean, this meat is great. Got a little bit of marbleization in there, but for jerky, it's gonna be really, really good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this. That's a little bit too much. I like the pieces of jerky to be big. I like them to be a little bit thicker than what you'd get probably in, you know, like a packaged Jack Links or something like that. But that's just a little too big. So we'll cut this in half here. And then what we'll do is we'll come down and cut it so it goes along the grain there. That'll make it really, really easy to eat. Super, super easy to smoke. All right, like that right there. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that into 2 smaller pieces because that's gonna be huge as well. And then we'll just slice, probably about 1/4 inch, like that. And so I like it, you know, kind of thick. And we'll take that, just put it directly in your marinade. Yeah, so as you can see, when you go to pull on the meat, even with it raw, see when you go to pull on that, you can see those striations are going through the thin side of the meat. That means when it smokes and all that fat in there renders, that's going to become soft. And then when you go to pull on that to eat it, it's going to be perfect. All right, I'm going to blow through all of this real quick. Probably cut off maybe a pound, pound and a half. So we're probably talking 12.5 pounds of jerky. Obviously, we're going to lose some of it when we smoke it because the moisture is going to come out of it. That's what it does, is dehydrate it and smoke it. But we will still have a pretty good yield on this giant loin. And a little word to the wise, if you're cutting Tabasco peppers, don't touch your eyes after, because my left eye is on fire right now. So wash my hands though, so hopefully that helps. But make sure you wash your hands after cutting, or wear gloves. That's probably the smartest thing to do, because those peppers are hot. See if you cut it just right, it just absolutely cuts like butter. See, I like big pieces. I hate when you get a package and they're super small. Something we can actually eat, you know? Good big pieces. Obviously they'll get smaller when we smoke them, but all right, so we got everything cut up, all probably 12.5 pounds worth of steak. Got it cut up, got it in here. As you guys can see, it looks amazing already. Just had the official taste tester taste it. She came off the couch, gave it a little taste, said she would drink it, said it's the best one yet. So we will find out. We're gonna let this marinate for 24 hours minimum. Might even go a little bit longer. We'll stir it every few hours or so, 6-8 hours, whatever. Just to stir it up, make sure, if there's meat sticking together, you want to make sure that marinade gets all the way around each piece. So if you go and grab a bag, you don't have one piece that's spicy and one piece that's not. That always aggravates me when there's not the same kind of flavor profile in every piece of meat that you pull out of the bag. So we're gonna wrap this up. This will go in the fridge. It'll sit for 24 hours minimum. And then what we'll do is we'll pull it out, put it on grates, and then we'll take those grates and we'll put it on our RecTech smoker. So stay tuned. This will be real quick for you, but this will be tomorrow or the next day when we actually smoke it. So stay tuned. All right, everybody, welcome back. It's been about 32 hours that it's been soaking, all the meat in there. As you can see, it's a lot darker brown, which means it's absorbed all that marinade that we made the other day. We've stirred it a couple times. You want to make sure that pretty much each piece has that darker color to it. If you see some of the red still on the meat, then that means that it really didn't soak in that marinade. So it's probably sitting on another piece of meat. So make sure you stir it up, get that marinade around each one. So what we like to do is, we have all these racks. I use giant cookie sheet underneath it just so you don't drip the marinade everywhere. We'll fill these racks because they have a lot smaller grate than what's on the smoker. I'm afraid if putting it directly onto the smoker that they'll fall through and then we'll lose pieces. So trying to just make sure we get the best yield we can out of what we cut up the other day. So take the grate, we'll lay them all out here. You don't want them really touching each other, just a little bit of gap so that air and smoke can get between each one of them. But we're gonna fill out 3 of these. We'll do 3 at a time. Since there is 12.5 pounds of meat here, we'll probably have to do 2 or 3 rounds. Smoker's big enough, we just don't have enough grates, so probably have to invest in some of those. You can get these grates off of Amazon, anywhere else. They're pretty common. So we'll fill these up, we'll take them out to the smoker, and I'll show you how the smoker works. All right, so we are at the smoker. I have the RecTech flagship XL 1400. It's a little, I guess, older model. Got it a couple years ago. I think they've moved on to like the 1600 for their flagship now. If you're not familiar with RecTech, they make a great product. Super heavy duty. The handles, hinges, everything on it is absolutely great. The customer service, if you ever do have an issue with it, is next to none. They will help you out with everything. So absolutely love RecTech. Give you a little preview of how it works here. I think this one holds 60 or 80 pounds of pellets in the back in the hopper. So we're going to turn it on. Very simple to turn on. What we'll do is you basically just hit the on button, use the dial, and you can crank it to whatever temperature you want. We're going to set it at 200 because we want it to go low and slow, really produce a lot of smoke, which is going to give even more flavor into that beef jerky. So one thing that is absolutely great about RecTech is they have an app. So you can click on here, you can control all your points, your probes. So you can set your probe, say you're doing a brisket and you've got the flat, you've got the point, and obviously you want to keep tabs on the temperature on both of those because they do cook differently. You can set your probes. You can add additional probes as well if you have, non-corded probe, so wireless. And then you can set your point of where you want it to be. So see, we're at 200 now. I set that on the machine itself, the controller, but you can actually do it from here. You can't start it from the app, which is a safety feature. Imagine having a cover or something sitting on here and you go to light it up. But this is great. It also comes with all sorts of recipes through RecTech, which is really, really cool. You know, so you got brisket here, ribs, pork butt, everything within the app. So if you buy a RecTech, this will come with it. I do have 2 different grills. I actually have a travel version, which is the RT340. It folds down. I can put it in the back of the truck if we go somewhere, haul the boat, you know, have wings and ribs when we get off the boat from fishing, anywhere we take it. And then I have, of course, the 1400, which this is not going anywhere. This sucker is a few hundred pounds, and it wheels around really nice, but we are not lifting it to put in the back of the truck. So just another cool feature. When I do briskets that take, you know, 18 hours or however long they take, it's super nice because this will actually give your set points, and it will give you, if I do say 190 when I want to pull it, it will alert me, so I can actually go inside, sleep, whatever, and then it will tell me when the alarm goes off when it hits that target point. So another cool feature. RecTech is super awesome. Check them out if you haven't done so already. All right, starting to get some smoke pumping out of here. Usually go through a pretty big smoke cycle, get the burn going, and then it will take it right to 200. So gotta love that smell. Really pumping some smoke now. So that is the initial burn cycle there. It pumps a little bit more pellets in than normal just to get that heat going, but you can see that it is super smoky. Not sure if the neighbors love us or hate us because of this. And speaking of neighbors, one of our biggest fans of the channel and our favorite neighbor, Winona, this one's for you. We'll make this whole video just for you. All right, so you can see that smoke is settled down now, which means it's coming to temp. We'll get this a quick clean, and then we will get the beef jerky and put it on here. All right, so we just got our last rack on there that we have. So as you can see, nice big pieces. Those are gonna sit for maybe 2 to 3 hours. We'll check on them. These are super thick, so of course you got to give it the taste test, make sure it's good. You want to pull when it's still just a little bit, you know, juicy and thick. They'll continue to dry out once you pull them off of the smoker as well. So of course we'll show that. Stick with us a couple more hours. So we're a couple hours in. We're gonna check on this, make sure it's good. Usually you have to grab a small piece just to try it while we're doing this. Yeah, let's take a peek at it. There are really thick pieces, so I'm assuming it's gonna need another hour, but we'll see. So still needing quite a bit. You can see that it still has some lighter regions, you know, where the fat's at and stuff. So not quite there, but we'll come back in an hour and see what it looks like. So we're 2.5 hours in. This is what it looks like. You can see that the outside starts to get that real dry look to it. But I like it where the inside's still got just a little bit of moisture. So what we'll do is we'll pull this, and what will actually happen is the meat will sweat a little bit. So what we'll do is we'll put some paper towel down, let these sit out there, and actually dry them out just a little bit more. And then we'll grab the second batch, and we will get that on the smoker and let it go for another 2.5 hours. All right, so we got them inside. We got all the racks on here, and what we're just going to do is lay out some paper towel, and then we're just going to lay them out, let them sit out for a little bit. Then we'll get the next batch on these racks and then get those back onto the smoker. Do you smell beef jerky? What about you? You smell beef jerky? I think so. Oh yeah. They love meat. Zisa's favorite is yellowfin tuna. Right, Z? We just had the first batch we pulled off, put it on the oven over there. Paper towel on it, soak up some of that extra juices that come off of it. It still will kind of sweat because it's hot, and it's cool in here. So you want to dry that off before we package it all down. I've got the remainder of the meat that's still in the marinade. Gonna throw it on the 3 trays again, get that back on the smoker. It'll be another 2.5 hours or so. And then we'll show you the final product of everything. And then we'll show you that we vacuum seal it down and everything, just so it stays longer, keeps it packaged, and we hand them out to everybody too, which everyone seems to enjoy. So we'll get these on, get it on the smoker, and we'll make up the second batch. All right, so we just took the last batch off. As you can see, we got everything laid out, still drying here. Gonna clear off this one, let it lay out on the paper towel for a little bit. That'll dry up just a little bit more, and then we'll take you to packaging it all up to get them vacuum sealed in the little packages that we have. We've already eaten probably a half pound, just taste testing as we go, and it is super, super good. So yeah, we'll get these off here, we'll get them packaged up, we'll show you how we do that, and then how many packages we get out of it. Package you buy in the store is usually like 3.5 ounces, so we try to kind of hit that. Makes a good snack size too. So 3.5 ounces, sometimes 4. Some of these pieces are really big, so probably less pieces, but there'll still be quite a bit of meat in each bag. So. All right, so we have our giant pile here of our done beef jerky. It's been sitting, drying out just a little bit more. Now we're gonna package it up. You spend a lot of money on meat, much, much cheaper than going buying packages though. That's why we do it. And I think it's better for you, and I think it tastes better too. So what we do is, got these little vacuum seal. I bought these silver ones one time. They're too small, and I don't like them for fish, so they actually work really, really well for the beef jerky. What we'll do is we'll put in there like, I don't know, 3.5, 4 ounces maybe, and just kind of feel it out, whatever feels like a good snack size. That's what you can do it as. If you eat more, put more in there. So we'll put it in there, we'll throw in the vacuum sealer, vacuum seal it up, and we'll see how many bags we come out of this. Hopefully I have enough bags. And we'll count them up and show the final product here in a second. All right, so we have everything packaged up. It's good to go. It's vacuum sealed. We're gonna give this to some friends and family, neighbors, everybody. And also we'll keep it for the next boat day when we go fishing, which might be this weekend. You can see, I think we have 24 different packages. They're actually probably much more than the 3.5, 4 ounces because those pieces are so big, probably like 5 or 6. You know, so you're talking, $250, $300 minimum if you were to go buy this at the store already made. And we don't have even $150 in it. So good significant savings, good snack to have on the boat, our favorite boat snack to have. So I hope you all enjoyed. I know that the people eating this will, and we'll probably have some feedback on it. Let me know, comment, like, let me know the next thing I should do, what your favorite boat snack is, or if there's something on the smoker that you've always had questions about. We've done almost everything on the smoker we can think of. So I'll post below the smoker that I have. Like, share, comment, send it to your friends. Let's get this thing going. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you on the next one.